Don't come tonight. High society only. 3 hours later, my name was trending on every architecture publication in the country. My parents were standing in the middle of a building I'd spent 18 months restoring, a building they didn't know was mine, watching their perfect party implode. I'm Elena Whitmore. For 10 years, my family erased me in 1,000 small ways, not invited to family photos, introduced as the one who does something with old buildings. My mother once cropped me out of a wedding picture and posted it on Facebook. The composition looked better, she said. They called my work renovation and playing with old houses. My sister Aurora shone in every spotlight while I built a career in the shadows they created for me. Here's what being invisible taught me. It gives you time to become exceptional at something, while everyone else performs for audiences that don't matter. I became a historic preservation architect, the kind who saves buildings everyone else has given up on. My parents never asked what I actually did, not once in 10 years. The project. 3 years ago, the Ashford Manor, a 150-year-old masterpiece, was scheduled for demolition. The National Trust called me as a last resort. I spent 3 weeks on a proposal showing them what the building had always been and why losing it would be criminal. Margaret Chen, the executive director, signed the approval personally. $12 million. 18 months of my life. I hand-selected every timber, found artisans who understood Victorian techniques, spent 3 months on the front doors alone, sourcing hardware from Vermont, hand-sanding oak panels until the grain emerged. My parents never knew. I worked under my firm's name, had stopped trying to impress people who refused to be impressed. Then the universe arranged its perfect irony. My parents chose Ashford Manor for their 35th anniversary party. The breaking point. Last Christmas, I drove 2 hours through a snowstorm because some pathetic part of me still hoped. My mother opened the door in Hermes and cashmere. "Oh, Elena, we weren't expecting you." I'd brought a first edition architecture book I couldn't afford. She took it without looking and set it aside with a note, "Re-gift to charity." Inside, my father introduced Aurora to a federal judge. "Our daughter has been doing wonderful work." Our daughter. Singular. When my mother finally introduced me to someone, she said, "This is Elena. She does renovations, hammers and things." I left before dessert. That night, I promised myself, never again walk into a room where you're not wanted. 3 weeks before. The group chat notification. "Elena, don't come to the anniversary party. Only high society guests. We don't want to explain your situation." Your situation, like I was a problem to manage. That same afternoon, a different letter arrived. Heavy cream stock, the AIA seal in gold. I'd been nominated for the gold medal, architecture's highest honor, the same award given to Frank Lloyd Wright and Frank Gehry. At the bottom, Margaret Chen's signature, the same woman my parents had personally invited to their party to impress her for charity board connections. My mentor. 2 messages, one day. One telling me I wasn't worthy, one telling me I was exceptional. The calls. A week before the party, Aurora called. "I tried to convince them to invite you, I really did, but it's probably for the best. You'd be uncomfortable around those people anyway." She was fishing for gossip to share at the party. I gave her nothing. Later, I learned she'd actually told her mother, "She's always so awkward. It'll be easier if she doesn't come." My father called 3 days later. "The guest list is final. Judge Harrison will be there. Important people. If you'd made different career choices, we wouldn't be having this conversation." Then, casually, "Some woman from the National Trust is coming. Margaret something. Your mother wants on her charity board." He was planning to impress my own mentor at a party in my building while hiding me like a family embarrassment. The lie. 2 days before the party, Aunt Patricia texted, "Your mother mentioned you've been struggling with mental health issues. Is everything okay?" I went to Facebook, found the mythology my mother had built. "So sorry about your younger daughter. Mental illness is so tough." My mother had liked it. Another comment, "Sending prayers for Elena." Her reply, "We're doing our best. Some children just struggle." I looked around my apartment, at the architecture awards on my walls, the trade magazines featuring my projects, the AIA nomination letter on my laptop. My mother was telling people I couldn't function. The announcement. The night before the party, Margaret called about the AIA timeline. The announcement goes live tomorrow evening at 7:30, the same time as my parents' party. "There's something else," Margaret said. "The Ashford Trust has approved a new grant, $500,000 for the governor's mansion restoration. We want you to lead it." When she mentioned she'd be at some anniversary party at Ashford Manor, I nearly laughed. "Small world," I said. "If you find yourself free tomorrow, you know where to find me." I hung up and stared at the two realities colliding. Margaret would be at my parents' party in my building, surrounded by people told I was mentally ill, and the announcement proving them wrong would go live at 7:30. 7:30. I was in my apartment when the AIA published their announcement. Within minutes, Architectural Digest shared their feature article, "Elena Whitmore, the woman reshaping America's architectural heritage." 12 pages, my photo, my work, my name. At my parents' party, a journalist's phone buzzed. The architect who restored this building just got nominated for the AIA Gold Medal. The name began circulating. Guests pulled out phones. The article loaded on screen after screen. Wait, Whitmore? Isn't that the host's name? Someone showed my mother her phone. "Diana, is this your daughter?" My mother laughed too high, too fast. "That must be a different Whitmore. Our Elena works in construction." But another guest had already Googled me. "It says she's from Wellesley. Isn't that where you're from?" The article included a quote from me. "I learned early that my work would speak louder than words. In my family, I never felt heard, so I let the buildings speak instead." Someone read it aloud. The room went silent. My mother had nothing to say. The unraveling. Aurora called at 7:58 p.m., her voice shaking with fury. "You ruined my life. Everyone is asking about you. Mrs. Chen keeps bringing you up. This is supposed to be Mom and Dad's night, and you made it about yourself." In the background, I heard my mother, "Yes, of course we knew. We just wanted to keep it private." I didn't make anything about myself. I just existed. I worked, I succeeded, and nobody asked. "You should have warned us." "Warned you that I'm good at my job? You had 10 years to ask me a single genuine question. You never did." She hung up. At the party, Judge Harrison approached my father. "Your daughter designed this building and you didn't mention it? It's complicated. You told me you were proud of your family. Seems you left out a significant accomplishment." Aunt Patricia spoke up. "Diana, you told me Elena was struggling, that she couldn't function, but that article says she led a $12 million restoration." My mother's champagne glass trembled. No script could save her now. Margaret Chen's move. Margaret Chen stepped to the center of the grand foyer. "I'd like to say a few words about this estate and the remarkable woman who saved it." My mother went pale. 3 years ago, Ashford Manor was scheduled for demolition. The National Trust called me as a last resort. I spent 3 weeks on a proposal showing them what the building had always been and why losing it would be criminal. That architect was Elena Whitmore. For 18 months, Elena worked on this building. Every door, every window, every piece of molding, brought back from ruin because one woman refused to let history disappear. Margaret held up an envelope with the AIA seal. Tonight, she was nominated for our profession's highest honor. I'd hoped to present it to her in person, but I've been told she's not well. She looked directly at my mother, which is strange because I spoke to her yesterday and she sounded perfectly fine. 150 people stood in a room full of my work, staring at my parents, waiting for an explanation that couldn't come. My arrival. I put on a midnight blue dress and the Cartier tank watch I'd bought myself after my first major project. The 45-minute drive felt timeless. When I arrived, Ashford Manor glowed like a memory come to life. Every window lit. White lights wrapped the columns. I paused at the threshold, fingers running along the oak